and it leads me into my buy, because now we're going to talk about dynasty buys. We're going to each give you a dynasty buy. Mine's DJ Moore for that exact reason. I mean, according to Keep Trade Cut, I believe he's in the 50s. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, he's 54th in their Superflex rankings, wide receiver 21. And I have to believe that this Bears offense is going to be better. And I have to believe that Caleb Williams is going to be better from the prospect that we scouted him. That, many, not just me, many people were saying that he's one of the better prospects that's come out in a long time. The offensive line's a concern, but Caleb Williams is mobile. DJ Moore is going to get as much target volume as he can handle. As long as Keenan Allen's healthy, he's an amazing receiver. Both those guys are going to help Caleb Williams out tremendously, and I have no concerns about either one of those two players. So DJ Moore is my buy in dynasty right now. What about you, Aditya? Who is your dynasty buy?
Well, first of all, I want to say I felt like a lot of quarterbacks, especially the rookies, struggled in week one. So take everything with a grain of salt. I saw that historically there are a lot of low passing success in week one. So again, like as we touched on, all of this show is don't panic too much. But I will say my dynasty buy is Drake Maye, and he's not a guy that you're panicking on because of what's happened with the Patriots offense or he's being benched or whatever, Jacoby Brissett. Jared Mayo has said that he likes Drake Maye and that Jacoby Brissett is starting because they have questions in the offensive line or he's the veteran, he knows what he's doing. And the fact that they beat the Bengals may have managers scratching their heads as to, Jacoby Brissett beat this Bengals team that's supposed to be a contender. But that wasn't really the case. A lot of good defense from the Patriots, and Jacoby Brissett was fine, but Drake Maye is the guy who he's sitting there on your fantasy benches. He didn't have a poor performance in week one to kind of tank his value. So he's a guy that I'm buying because I don't think his value gets lower than it is right now. He's just sitting there on the Patriots bench. He's sitting on fantasy benches. And once he starts, like he showed in preseason, he's going to have a lot of those magic passes deep downfield to guys like Jalen Polk and I guess Kendrick Bourne once Kendrick Bourne comes back from injury. But I don't think Kendrick Bourne is really a long-term Patriots player there. So Drake Maye, especially in those super flex leagues, he's kind of going to get forgotten about in your leagues. So just because he's not starting. So he's a guy you send an offer out there, see what you can get. And when he does start starting, he's going to be a viable player for you to start, especially in Superflex leagues.
I'm going to buy Rashee Rice as far up the ladder as I can possibly go. I mean, just from we saw the improvement all the way from last season, but even just the stark improvement from the off season, we saw on Thursday his ability to maneuver traffic was much better than it was back in March. That was a speeding joke. But no crashes on Thursday maneuvering traffic. Yeah. But on a serious note, 32% target share. Just the way he was used, he's absolutely dominant. He's 24 years old. I think the presence of Xavier Worthy is still suppressing his value a little bit. Obviously, the legal issues really, held his value in check throughout the offseason and in both Dynasty and Redraft. But there still appears to be some time to buy Rashee Rice. Like, I don't know if it has to happen again this week at Cincinnati before people truly start clinging on to this asset and vaulting him up closer to the top 12 receivers. Because truthfully, why would you have like an entire tier of Jalen Waddle to Rashee Rice? Like, and I love Jalen Waddle, but those are not two receivers that are a tier apart right now. And right now, Jalen Waddle is near a consensus top 12 dynasty receiver. So Rashee Rice should be as well. He probably should be a top 10 asset, if we're being honest, linked to Patrick Mahomes for the next 6 years of his career, potentially. So otherworldly asset, 22 or not 22 fantasy points, 22 in this league where you get bonuses, but 7 receptions, 9 targets, 103 yards, not even a touchdown. There's going to be plenty of even better weeks for Rashee Rice. I mean, this is somebody who I think could potentially be a top 10 receiver this year in fantasy football when it's all said and done. So if there's any opportunity to buy Rashee Rice on my win now teams, I'm going to do it.
I love that take so much. That's kind of like one that I've been hiding in the chamber, but I've been touting him like basically all redraft season because he was ranked so low in ESPN's pre-draft rankings, and I was fighting the mob out there that was saying, "Oh, taking him in the 3rd round's ridiculous." And I'm telling you, if the impending legal issues weren't hanging over his head, this is a guy who's easily a 2nd round pick. I mean, in this crop of wide receivers, I know this is the Dynasty roundtable, but I mean, Chris Olave, Drake London, Nico Collins had a great week, but all these receivers were going in the 2nd round. Mike Evans, you don't think Rashee Rice could have been in that conversation? Like, I think he easily was going to be in that conversation.
We know
and
he
when
was.
You look,
He went in the early 2nd round in FFPC leagues on Friday after the Thursday night game. So like as soon as it became a known, he became that 1-2 that turn pick. That's where it should have been all along.
And there, like, if you want to get bold with it too, and I know the legal stuff is out there, and who knows if that's going to be this season or next season. I suspect it's going to be next season, so that could affect this. But if legal troubles aside, you can make a strong case that this guy could have been a 1st round pick like next year, like in this offense. And when you look at his dynasty ranking and you see that he's ranked below Chris Olave, some of the people that we've talked about tonight, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, I don't know about you guys, but if an offer came in my inbox, I'll give you Rashee. First of all, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I'll give you I'll give you Rashee Rice, and you give me Chris Olave. I don't know if I could accept that fast enough. I don't know about you.
I would break my phone with how hard I would hit.
Yeah. And he was
my finger would go through the phone screen.
Yeah, Rice was getting a lot of targets that Travis Kelce actually used to get, middle of the field, a lot of the short breaking routes. So that kind of delves into the whole Travis Kelce isn't being used as much. But Rashee Rice, he's getting a ton of usage as Patrick Mahomes is #1 wide receiver. So why not?